What family betrayal made you realize blood isn't always thicker than water? My mom spent 8 years lying to my face while I worked 2 jobs to pay our bills. I was 15 when my dad died in a car crash. Mom broke down crying at the funeral, saying we had nothing left. The house was barely keeping up with mortgage payments. She couldn't work full-time because of her bad back. I believed every word. So I got a job at the grocery store after school, 16 hours a week at minimum wage. Every paycheck went straight to her. Groceries, electric bill, car insurance. I skipped buying lunch most days just to stretch the money further. When my friends went to movies or bought new clothes, I stayed home counting quarters. Senior year came around and I had to skip prom because I couldn't afford the tux rental. My girlfriend Madison understood, but I could see the disappointment in her eyes. Meanwhile, my older sister Rebecca was off at college on scholarships, sending postcards from spring break trips I couldn't even dream of. By 23, I was working at the grocery store full-time plus weekend shifts at a warehouse, paying half the rent, buying all the food, covering her medical co-pays. Mom kept saying she was applying for disability benefits, but the paperwork was always getting held up somehow. One Saturday, she asked me to help clean out the basement. We were moving old boxes around when I knocked over this dusty shoebox behind the water heater. Bank statements scattered everywhere. I started picking them up, thinking they were old bills from when Dad was alive. But these weren't bills. They were statements from Dad's savings account, the one I thought had been closed years ago, except it was still active, and the balance made my stomach drop. $94,000. I stared at the numbers, thinking it was some kind of mistake. The account showed regular withdrawals over the past 8 years, thousands at a time, recent ones too. Last month, she'd taken out $4 grand. I confronted her right there in the basement. She went white as a sheet and started stammering about how I wouldn't understand, how the money was complicated, how she was protecting me from making bad choices. Protecting me? I'd been eating ramen noodles for dinner while she was sitting on almost 100 grand? I demanded to see everything. She finally admitted Dad had left detailed instructions in his will. The money was specifically for me. College fund, car down payment, whatever I needed to get started in life. She was supposed to tell me about it when I turned 18, but she never did. Instead, she watched me drop out of community college because I couldn't afford tuition. Watched me drive a car with bald tires and a broken air conditioner. Watched me work myself into exhaustion while she went to the spa twice a month. I pulled up the bank records on her computer. Massage appointments, new furniture, a vacation to Florida last year when she told me she was visiting her sick sister. Even cosmetic surgery for her nose job that she claimed was covered by insurance. The worst part wasn't even the money she'd spent. It was that she'd stolen 8 years of my life. 8 years where I could have been in school, building a career, having a normal relationship with Madison, who eventually broke up with me because I never had time for anything except work. I moved out that same day, took what was left in the account, which was about $12,000 after all her spending, found a small apartment across town and started over from scratch. She called me crying for weeks, saying she'd done it because she loved me, that she wanted to keep me close because she was afraid of being alone, that I was abandoning her just like my dad did when he died. I haven't spoken to her in 6 months now. Mom still lives in the same house, but now she actually has to pay her own bills. Turns out her back problems weren't as bad as she claimed when she had no choice but to get a job.